Good afternoon, everyone. We are Group 3, and my name is Coco. They are my group members, Tina and Kenny. Today we want to talk about the specific part of Taiwan. We will introduce Taiwanese opera. And next page is our content. In the beginning, I will talk about the introduction for you first, and Kenny will show the elements and instructions for you, and Tina will talk about the task and example. After that, I will make a conclusion. Introduction. 100 years ago, Taiwanese opera is originated from Iran. The ancestors in Iran are almost immigrating from Zhangzhou or Fujian province. It grew out along with the land and became the best represent and the local characteristic of Taiwan. It is one of the most significant entertainments in the early agricultural society. Next is language. Based on immigrating, the language used is a style-like combination of literary and colloquial register of Taiwan. And next is story. The story elements are traditionally depending on folk tales in the south of Fujian, though in recent years, the stories are increasing set in Taiwan locals. Taiwanese opera has been exported to other Taiwanese-speaking areas. And next part, Kenny will introduce the elements of Taiwanese opera.
And there are 4 characteristics which are Sen, Dan, Jin, Chou in Taiwanese opera. The first one is Sen. Sen is always played by a young man, and there are 2 features about him. Sen is always handsome or polite, and he is also good for singing. And the next one is Dan. Dan is always played by a young woman, and there are also 2 features about her. Dan always has beautiful face and beautiful voices, and Sen and Dan is always considered as a couple by the audience. The next one is Jin. Jin is also played by a man, but from the picture you can see that Jin always has his face painted, so he is also called a painted face. And in Taiwanese opera, you can always see Jin use his big motion and loud voices to attract audiences. And the last one is Chou. Chou is always the most funny characters in Taiwanese opera, and he can be played by any man on the street as long as the man is humorous. And next, I'm going to show you the instruments used in Taiwanese opera. The first one is called Kezixuan. Kezixuan is just like a violin, it's a string instrument. And because the music box is made from coconut shell, so that's where his name comes from. The next one is called Suona. Suona is just like a flute, and it's a one instrument. And because the Suona's tone is high, so it's used in military situation to improve a soldier's morale. And the next one is Yueqin. Yueqin is just like a guitar, but it only has 2 strings, and it's the plucked instrument, but it only has 2 strings. And from the picture, you can see that the shape of a yueqin is just like a moon, so it's also called a moon-shaped flute. And because the sound of a yueqin is so sad, so in tragic situation, you can often hear the sound of yueqin. And next, I want to show you the most common movements used in Taiwanese opera. And there are 4 parts which are hands, eyes, steps, and body. And I will show you steps by steps. The first one I want to talk about hands and eyes. First, you just put your hands on the air, and you put your thumbs and your fingers, middle fingers together. And you draw a circle in the air. But because your eyes have to follow where your eyes goes, where your hands goes, so your hands and your eyes will be like this. And the next is your steps. First, you just put your right foot on the front right. And when you finish drawing a circle, your right hand feet will turn out to be on the back left side. And your body just follow the opposite opposition of your hands. If your hands is on the left side, your body will have to be the right side. And totally, if you follow my directions, your movement will be like this. Sorry, okay. Your movement will be like this. And next, Tina will show you the types of Taiwanese opera.
Now I'm going to show you the 6 performance types of Taiwanese opera. The first type is the simple performance, and in this type, the actor acts in the simple and small stage, and also in this type, and it didn't have the makeup, and it acts only with themselves. And although it is simple, but it's very touch people's heart because their story is about the daily life and the dialogue is spoken by the Taiwanese. So it is also the key form of the leisure activity at the time. Then the second type is that they began to perform indoors, and not like the first type, they have the elaborate prompts and also have the clothes, and the actor, like the picture, have the makeup. And then the third type is that they perform outdoors with the temple activities like the Ding Tao. And it's used for giving thanks to the God. And both of these types give the Taiwanese opera more chances to learn the strength from other performers. The fourth type is the radio. In this type, the actor only can focus on their voice and their singing skills because the audience only can enjoy their performance by listening. Then the television. In recent years, the television technology has become more and more popular, so Taiwanese opera began to perform on the television, and it brings the Taiwanese opera to an advertisement. The first one is it can capture the actors' facial expression by using the shooting skills, and then it led the more people to know their performance. Then the theater, it is also the reform opera. It's used on elaborate prompt scenery and give the Taiwanese opera unique scenery. And then I will give you an example of reform opera. Take Meanwhile, a well-known organization, for example. The reason why it is the most famous organization is because it's good at using visual shock to audience, and it's used the high technology to let the audience to feel the actor is a real people in the virtual story. And then because of this reason, it brings the Taiwanese opera to a new era, and also bring them to the international stage. And next, Coco will show you the conclusion.
From this report, we can find that Taiwanese opera has a close connection between the life of local people and the form of traditional art. We think over and explore the idea that we don't know before. It's necessary for us to deeply know about Taiwanese opera, including characteristics, types, and movements. We hope that today our presentation will give you reliable information about Taiwanese opera. This is our references, and this is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your listening. Do you have any questions?
I have a question. If I wanted to listen to a Taiwanese opera in person here in Kaohsiung, where could I go?
We don't know because we're not living in Kaohsiung.
So what if I go to Taipei?
I think the culture is the national